Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. A little bit of a different format this morning in the fact that I've got some reduced functionality that I am working through. So you are seeing the correct screen here in that you should be looking at the TD Ameritrade of the SPY, the one-year SPY, which is kind of where we'll start. But first, get a good show for you today. Yeah, the sound is a little different. I'll apologize ahead of time. I'm working through some issues here, so I may call one of you up later and sound check some different options for the future here. But we're going to press with what we have for today. We may only go a couple minutes, or we'll see where we get as far as what I can do here this morning. Excuse me. Okay, so standard disclosure applies as a financial education presentation, and you must do your own diligence before acting on anything that you hear this morning. As far as our standard flow, make sure you have your Q&A and your chat window set up with the appropriate things selected and using a call sign. And what we're going to talk about today, we're going to grow our money. We're going to primarily talk about growing our money by looking at DraftKings and the action in the stock this morning, and that's also going to be our trade this morning. Let me put that in the chat here real quick, and that will be primary, and then secondary. We're going to try to find something with that goes with a short as far as what Trump said last night about Chinese stocks and that sort of thing. So thank you for the heads up on that this morning, early, a burner. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our one-year display here. Here's where we are in the SPY. So when you think, okay, the election was here, and then we've kind of run up, we gapped up here and then went down during the day. We're kind of flatlining in that 350 level. And I haven't really talked about what I think the end of the year is going to look like. I'm far more positive now that we've kind of priced in the fact that Biden's going to be the president and that we have a split Congress. That's, I know, still getting worked. But, I think we can actually hold this level. Before I thought it'd be that 300 to 320. Then it was 320 to 340. Now it's holding 350, and things are going pretty well. So there's two main themes that are out there. One is good news, is the stimulus, which I don't hear a lot of traction on that yet, but I think we should be getting some traction on that soon, and maybe something published here in the next couple of weeks or so. And then on the downside, of course, is the coronavirus and what's going on with the closing around the country. New Mexico came out with some pretty strict measures yesterday, and also there was some talk here in Texas even of starting to close things. New York City's closing restaurants. So there's lots of draconian measures that may be popping back in. And of course, you saw yesterday that Biden's number one COVID person said prepared to close down for 4 to 6 weeks to defeat this thing. So that could be interesting if we're doing that in January or so. So there's a lot of unknowns. But the market has been pretty optimistic about the vaccine, which is why we're up here. So if the vaccine doesn't turn out in the next 6 to 8 weeks towards the end of the year, that would be one thing that would take the market lower, or just COVID kind of outpaces the optimism behind the vaccine. So we'll see. Don't know. I'm comfortable putting money to work here in certain themes that are going to be good for the next 4 years under a President Biden and a Democratic, administration. But I'm still not getting kind of crazy across the board. Here's the last 5 days. You can kind of see the action, the big vaccine Monday, gap up, and then taking us on into today. Kind of leaked off yesterday throughout the day, and the little optimism towards the end. Of course, the futures are in the green, just barely though, this morning. As far as earnings, honestly, I did not get a chance to look. As far as our what we're going to trade this morning, going to be pretty cautious. I probably won't take the trade because I'm 0-1 with my computers this morning. So not the best time to trade. But two things we'll be looking at is DraftKings. We'll take it the longer term charts. You can see how that is set for to move up. And then you have NEO, which is also in play again this morning, up 7%. I really would like to find a short that we can turn around and take as far as a Chinese name. But we'll try to get to that here in a second. All right, let's go over to CNBC. We're going to take a look at our normal pre-market futures. There they are. Let's refresh real quick. Nothing's happening real quick this morning, but there we go. All right, pretty much in the green across the board, so you have to kind of like that. So overall in the green for the week, largely because of the vaccine news. You can see Europe is split and not moving a whole lot, so that's pretty tame over there. Asia in the red. There's our numbers from yesterday. Again, went red midday and just kind of stayed red with a little bit of optimism towards the end there. Bonds have not really moved a whole lot. Oil creeping back down towards 40, so we would like to maintain that 40 to 60 range. And then, of course, the gold and silver are up a little bit. Again, I wouldn't touch these necessarily now that the election is behind us. All right, let's take a look at the headlines. So you see Kramer up here. He's saying, and I have to agree that the market's been pretty optimistic about the vaccine, and the vaccine news is obviously great and fantastic, and we're on the right path. But there's a lot to be determined, and then of course once we do actually have it, there's going to be a big food fight over who gets it, who should get it, who wants it. Can the rich go in and just buy it? That sort of thing, which is it's a pretty interesting conversation. So stay tuned on how all of the vaccine thing plays out. But overall, it does give us some optimism. So too many bulls. He also said too optimistic. That is true. Kevin O'Leary, the one yesterday, if you caught that, I did not send out the replay. I need to send out the replay today in case you missed it. But I did talk about investing for teens. So those of you that are teens or have teens or no teens, there's a lot of things you can do. And the second piece of it is not just investing, but I think the youth of America does kind of understand the fact that having a side hustle is a pretty good thing. A little bit of entrepreneurship on the side, even if it's small at an early age, can kind of start to, cut their teeth as far as market research and what works and what doesn't. And by that, what I mean is, even if your kids are making a TikTok video or an Instagram post, it's like they do their best to create it, and then they put it out there. And then what do? They sit back and see how many likes it gets or loves or reposts or retweets or, all of the stuff that's going on in social media land. Well, all that is kind of basic market research, and all of that is kind of teaching them a little bit of a business model of, hey, don't do this, do this because this works. Don't do this because it doesn't work. So I think that's going to benefit us long term. Okay, DoorDash IPOing. I don't know if I'll get in that. I'll have to take a look a little closer on that. Haven't seen this before. COVID cases could be near zero in 6 months. That's pretty optimistic. I'm not sure I would put any stock in that at all. Okay, DraftKings, that's what we're going to talk about today. They had a third quarter beat, surge in users. The COVID actually kind of helps them a little bit because it keeps people in their homes and they're looking for action, right? And DraftKings is ultimately an action play of, people are bored. So they hop online and try to bet on things, and you can bet on anything, not just sports there, all kinds of stuff. Here's NEO off to the left, up 12% now. They were up 6% earlier. So we'll check back on them. They're jumping pretty good as well. All right, let's see what else we have in the headlines. Yep, I have friends that were going to go to Wisconsin. They're not going to go to Wisconsin now because of what's going on up there. And again, just like the flu, COVID likes the cold, so expect the numbers to pick up. I agree with this 100%. That's why you've seen me move into not only KWEB, which is a index fund for Chinese tech that we've already talked about. There's another fund out there called GAA. It's a global allocation fund that is kind of all things large cap international, which I've started flowing some funds into. And I do think overall that the international markets have been kind of held back, if you will. And the U.S. has been, I've been doing U.S.-centric investing for a decade. So it's time to branch out a little bit. I think the rest of the world's going to start to catch up with this a little bit. Disney on the move up, beat earnings, but again, they're facing COVID head on, so that's not good. Disney moved up basically on the Disney Plus. It came out a year ago already. That's hard to believe. And if you're a Verizon user, you got it for free for a year. So they had all these users, and then basically I just re-upped for whatever the contract is. So me and 30 million others just did the same thing. So they have a new revenue stream out of their Disney Plus, which is pretty cool. Palantir, if you follow PLTR, they did kind of mixed earnings, if you will, but the stock was so optimistic. And again, we've talked about that too, that it ran up so much, 50% in the past, 7 to 10 days. It's selling off a little bit, about 10% between yesterday and then the post market. Long term, I'm not worried about Palantir at all. All right, let's go ahead and switch to our theme of the day, which is DraftKings. Talked about it a little bit. It started way back here. It was a SPAC. I can't remember the original ticker, but we got into it while it was a SPAC. So most everybody with me is in that 10 to 11 to up to maybe 14 entry point price range. Kind of went into the picked up its ticker somewhere in here and then did a kind of a spike up, sold off for a while, a lot of churning, and then kind of had that big run up since football season started. Shocker, right? So DraftKings and football are kind of the marriage that you've seen there, but also DraftKings is into some major sponsorships. They've got a whole lot going on. Well, they started spending a bunch of money, and that spooked a lot of investors out because all you were seeing every day was like a new announcement of, DraftKings is sponsoring this and that. Well, that's all money out of the till, right? So got people a little bit concerned that that wasn't going to lead to more users. It was just going to lead to, money down the drain. So sold off pretty hard and did make me doubt it a little bit. I shaved somewhere in here, if you had 1,000 shares, I might have taken you down to 800 or something. So some of your shares have disappeared, but now it's getting a little more life back into it. And looking over at another screen here, it closed 41 yesterday. It's up 11% already. So it's kind of jumping up out of our range there. But I think it's got a lot more room to run. So it closed at 41, jumping up right now. It's at 46. So that's where we are in DraftKings. So we'll take a look at it once we pull the chart there. As far as trying to value this thing, there's no dividend. They are losing money. So, I don't get excited about that. But that's also what kept me out of Amazon for a long time. There are some people betting against it, so there's a short float, but it's less than 10%, so I'm not too worried about that. And then, of course, decent returns. It is up 300% on the year. So, and look how far it's sold off. So we were up, 500% here when you take your $11 stock and it's up at 60 or $12 at 60. So pretty nice gains overall, so I'm not too worried about it. There's all the headlines that are associated with it, and then stuff that's going on with the different folks in the company that are buying and selling that stock. So we don't have Schwab this morning to go over to, so we will kill this off and we will go over to pre-market gappers. I think it's Market Watch. Sorry, I didn't have this pulled up. Again, I'm was losing this morning. That's not what I'm looking for. Market Watch, I believe, is what I'm looking for. Again, I'm looking for, there we go, pre-market screen or Market Watch. There is a gapping function to where I want the stuff in the red. There we go. All right, here's the volume. Oh boy, that's all light volume right there. So not seeing a lot in red. Let's look under the actives. Zoom's down 3.6. I wouldn't bet against Zoom though. So not seeing anything I like off of that list. Let's take a look. I know there's another one in here somewhere. That's gonna make me log in. We're gonna get rid of that. So we're gonna go to investor.com. If I could spell. And check this list. Again, looking for stuff in the red with volume. So those are down quite a bit, all well over 10%. A way to expand that out, and I am not seeing it. All right. All right, let's give up on this and go over to Yahoo, go over to TD Ameritrade on our 4 screens. We'll kind of get set up here. We got 5 minutes to open, so we have lots of time. We got DraftKings here, so set up on a 1 minute chart, and then we have the SPY, and then we have NEO over here. So again, looking long on both of those names. I am going to go off into another screen for a second and try to find something that is moving down. If you see anything, hop up in the chat if there's anything that you're looking at. Again, I'm reduced functionality, so I don't have my normal normal screen pulled up. I get an alert every morning on some pre-market stocks on the move, so that's what I'm looking for is in my Seeking Alpha stuff. If I can find a pre-market email. So pre-market summary, but nobody that's on the move. Here's the biggest moves pre-market. Let's check this out. Again, I'm on another screen, so apologize for that. Disney up, Cisco up, yeah, Palantir down. We could take a look at Palantir. I don't want you shorting it though, so let's not pull it up because it'll just be tempting. Farfetch up, Autodesk up. Ooh, Revlon's down. That would make sense that they would be down off of missed earnings. Let's do that in this window. REV. Move this over. Maybe we can't. Frustration. All right, I was going to zoom that out. I can't for some reason. So low volume on Revlon. I'll keep looking. All right, nothing on the short side, so I'm going to give up on that. So we're going to go back to NEO and talk our entry points here. All right, as far as the exact entry here, we're going to need a 50-cent stop on DraftKings. Again, I kind of like where it is at this 45.50 range, so we may just take it there. We shall see if we get a better entry than that. I'm going to like it the better. NEO, again, about 50-cent stop is going to work. I kind of like where it is here too, so we shall see. And then overall, let's get rid of the chat window here and get set up on the tickers. Copy that, Major. Thank you. All right, 30 seconds to go. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 3 screens available for you today. On the left, we have the SPY on a 1-minute chart. We'll zoom in here a little bit to see how the market opens. We have 2 longs for you. We have DraftKings and NEO. DraftKings is an online gambling play, and the NEO, of course, is a Chinese EV maker, both of which are positioned to go higher, not only from earnings today, but from a Biden administration. So there's the opening bell. We're looking for a good entry on a DraftKings here. Expect about a 50-cent stop. So we'll kind of let it go here for a second. Once it starts back north, that's where we're going to take it. 45.40, once it hits north back there, will be the entry point. And again, we're going long. You can see it's up 9% already. And we also have NEO's up 5% already. So let's go down to 45.20. 45.20 is our new entry point here, long. So again, this is just profit taking that you're seeing right now. Let's go 45.10. Again, 50-cent stop. Let's go 45 with the 50-cent stop. Again, 45 long. As soon as you see 45, we're going to be in it. I don't know if I'll be able to draw today. There it is. We hit our 45, so we are in the trade. We are at 44.50 is the stop. That's a 50-cent stop, so that's down here. If it goes down to 44.50, you got to be out. Remember, that's our trading philosophy, so don't forget to be diligent with your stops. for some reason, I can actually draw on this screen. So the things that normally work don't, and the things that don't work do. So it's weird. All right, we got to hang in on the trade. Get ready at 44.50. We're going to be out if it hits it. Otherwise, let's think optimistic. Get ready, though, in case it doesn't flip here. Saw 44.51, so we're still in the trade. So as long as this holds here, we're going to like it. And we're out. So 44 busted out on the trade there. So that is it for DraftKings for the day. Now, I don't sit and trade the same stock over and over, but I really do like DraftKings long here. And I don't think it goes much lower than this today. So nice tight stop for us. Did not work out. I would not be surprised at all if this thing goes raging back up to 46 while we're still talking here. All right. Let's take a look at NEO. NEO did a nice little sell-off there at the opening, and realistically, if you're in the trade, it would be right around 51.50. Don't like that trade nearly as much as DraftKings, though. So we'll check back on that here in a minute. All right, let's switch to the long term. See what's going on around the market. Refreshing on another screen. Trying to refresh. All right, everything's still in the green, about 0.2% across the board, and it's kind of equal today. We've got the Dow and the NASDAQ and all that stuff are all moving at the same pace. Here's our DraftKings. It's at 9%, which makes me mad because, yep, there it goes. There it goes. All right, so go back to my chart here. All right, so you got DraftKings on the way up. NEO is also on the shooting higher, so we have the right names there. Tencent Holdings is what name we talk about. So obviously, if there was concern about what Trump said, which I didn't even see that in the morning headlines, so I have to look harder at that article. But he was saying that he would prohibit the U.S. from investing anything that has to do with the Chinese military. But we'll see. Maybe we're in the clear with all of the tech stuff investments. All right, Northwest Bio, we got K-Web. I'm a big fan of the K-Web, up 3%. This has moved about 7% this week, so got in nice and early there. Camping World Holdings getting some love. Kohl's. There's Palantir. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Palantir chart since it's been a little bit of a ride, up and down. So 5 days from 11.45 up to 17. Here's the hit it got right at the end of yesterday as it goes into the aftermarket. Then they had the conference call, and of course they're slick talkers, so the stock market or the stock kind of recovers during the conference call, and then it looks like it's doing well today. So good for Palantir. That's a name that I like. All right, let's see what we have in the red. Helion, that's an EV play. Luckin, see what Luckin's doing here. Down at 462. Remember, it was up above 5. I thought it was going to stabilize there, and it's been a kind of a slow leak since, and then starting down here. You can take Luckin long. That's a buy there. All right, Workhorse. Tesla's down. So a little bit of the EV names, but you see there's not really many names down, so most of them are up. Okay. All right. Well, 4 minutes into the open, and we'll check back on the trade screen real quick, and then I'm going to let you go for the day. We're not going to do a question of the day. So it did actually come back down and retest that low of the day. Generally, you will see the low of the day in situations like this get tested in like the first 10 minutes. So if you were inclined to trade all day, just sit here and watch the low get established in the first 10 minutes. It's called the check mark, if you've heard me talk about in the trading industry. Some folks will wait for that. They'll just wait for the low to be established and then wait for it to climb all the way back up to 45 and then take it higher. I like to be a little more aggressive, but lately that has not worked. So we'll have to maybe increase the stops a little bit to get in on this. So that's what I've got for you today. Thanks for listening. Sorry for the technology issue. And then, Berner, reach out to me. I'll talk to you a little later today about the audio thing and see how it was. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you Monday. Bye.